Did you said that you received threats? I mean,
Yeah, people are crazy. Oh my God. Yeah.
but do
People
you mean
are.
like on social media or in the game?
Yeah, no, in the game, in social media, people were horrible. Like, I sometimes I'm like scared. I go to these tournaments, I'm a little bit scared, and I know that I shouldn't be because it's just keyboard warriors, but a part of me
Oh, you
is
never know, actually.
afraid.
I don't know.
Yeah, a part of me is afraid because I love to interact with people, especially at Dota events, because there's so many different kinds of people from all over the world, and we're all such a big fan of this game, and it feels really special. But all it takes is one crazy person or one of the people in your DMs saying they'd shoot you if they ever saw you to like put an end to it, you know? So it's a bit scary, but for the most part, I know that they're empty threats. But yeah, it's like in my DMs and my Twitch chat and in Dota. It's gotten a lot less now because I feel like I've been around long enough for people to have less intense feelings.
Hmm.
But initially, like, it was rape threats, stalking threats, people like, I see where you are, even though they didn't. But like, they just try to scare you. Unfortunately, it happens
Yeah, I know.
if you're in the public eye.
Yeah.
Oh God, it's happening to you. I'm so
Oh yeah,
sorry.
I have what is it
Oh my
called in
God.
English? Boletim de
Stalker?
ocorrência. No, when you go to the police station and you make a registration about people stalking
Someone
you,
that is threatening you.
yeah,
Here in
and
Brazil, we go
stuff.
to the police station and you just make a report of the threat, and
Yeah.
it's registered in case something happened. You already
Mm.
registered, and
Yeah.
Oh my God, have you had to make those?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I have one of it, and yeah, but what I was going to ask you is because I'm trying to understand the motivation. I mean, I know that people can be toxic in games and on social media, and that's not okay, like ever. But I'm trying to understand about, rape things. What, you know, that's so weird.
Yeah, I think it's honestly it's hard to try to rationalize why people like that act the way
Hmm.
that they do. It can be like they have a horrible life or they have some kind of mental illness or they are genuinely just hateful people and they want to
Hmm.
make you feel afraid. Like that could alone be enough. So it's hard to say, but for the most part, like, the one thing that I do have to say about this is for every one crazy person, there's hundreds of really kind and really supportive people in Dota. So it's important to not let these outliers like paint an image of what the community actually is. Like for me, I
Hmm.
actually had to learn that. Like I had to drill that into my head because initially one of these messages would have me upset the whole day or scared the whole day or afraid the entire tournament. Um, but eventually, because I met so many incredible people too, and so many people who shared their joys and their experiences and talked to me, it easily makes up for any of these crazy people by far.
Hmm.
Mhm. And how do you deal with this? Because usually people say, "Oh, just ignore," but it's kind of impossible to always be ignoring, like if you're
Mm.
getting constant messages and threats.
I mean, like I mentioned, it's not that bad anymore. It used to be a few years ago. Right now, it's honestly mostly calm. Like for the most part, what I read is just criticisms and not
Hmm.
anything threatening. So it's okay. Like in terms of threats and whatnot, you just have to, you just have to understand that it comes with being in the public eye, and then you have to just ask yourself, do I want this job enough to work in spite of it? And if the answer is yes, you just have to ignore. Like you can take precautions to be safer, like make sure that there's security where you go, make sure you don't go anywhere alone, like don't show people what hotel you're staying at. Things like that can keep you feeling better. But like I said, a lot of this is just empty threats most of the time. And in terms of criticisms, it's also part of the job. You can try your best to learn from them and be better. Like it's not the easiest to just ignore, but like what else can you do?
Hmm. Yeah, and do you feel like this happens because you're a woman, or is because they're just hateful people and they would be, spilling hate on everybody? How do you
Mm,
feel about it?
Both, for sure. It's because I'm a woman and because they're hateful people, and then you get
Gosh.
this creation, you know. But it's okay. Like I said, um, it's really calmed down over the years.
Mm-hmm.
Like I haven't really thought of it as a problem for a long time. So you can't really understand what the motives are. It's like really hard to try to get into the minds of these people. So you just have to, get up and do your job and go to bed and, rinse and repeat. It is
Yeah.
what it is.
Yeah, sometimes I have a feeling that things are changing, but other times I get the feeling that actually it's because we're working with internet and people are already recognizing our voice in Dota, for example. So sometimes I feel like they respect us because of our jobs, because of the work we're doing and because they recognize us and not because we deserve respect like everybody, and
Mm.
it's weird. I feel like for some guys, I don't know what you think about it, but sometimes I feel like they get mad that we're here, like this is
Mm.
their space. Video
Mm.
games are a main thing, so we cannot be here.
Mm.
Actually, that was the thing that motivated me to create this podcast to talk about girls and make guys know that there are girls, playing video games, and it's okay. It's just fine.
That's really cool that you made a podcast like that, and I hope it reaches a lot of these people and maybe changes their minds too. For your question, I think that like the internet in general, like it's not that old. Like it's still a relatively new thing, and a lot of these hobbies like gaming and whatnot, they like maybe 20 years ago it wasn't super popular for girls to play, so it just felt like a dude space. So like on in these online spaces, it was like somewhere where they just had to themselves, and that's probably why they feel so gatekeepy about it. But times have really changed. Like we talk about this in Dota, but I think that this problem exists in the older games a lot more than in the newer games, because like I have a couple of little cousins and they're girls and they play a lot of League of Legends, like a lot of it, and they play a lot of Valorant too, and they tell me that like they have a lot of friends in these games that are also girls. Like half of the people they run into in their lobbies are also girls. So I've not heard from my little cousins that they haven't run into other girls. I think in the older games, like, Dota and maybe World of Warcraft and StarCraft, you'll see a lot more of these gatekeepy types, or like, get away, girl, this is my game. What do you know about BKB? You'll see those types, but but it's changing because there's also a lot of good people playing as well, and I think it's become a more common opinion to speak up and like against these things. Like I remember on Reddit in the past when I would read these threads that girls wrote, and they would write about, why is everyone harassing me? Why can't I just play? They would, that type of thread. People on Reddit would just be like, oh, shut up. You're not special. You're not a special snowflake. This is everybody's experience. Now when I see threads like that, it's more like people are like, yeah, dude, that sucks. Like, if you want cool people to play with, hit me up. Or yeah, they shouldn't be doing that. Like it's become more common to recognize it for what it is and talk against it. At least that's what I've seen. So I'm pretty optimistic about things changing for sure. Like I do see a huge difference now in the culture than 5 years ago even.
Hmm. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I feel like things are changing, not as fast as I'd like, but I feel it's changing. The more we have women playing, women talking on the mic, and women
Mm,
streaming, and on the official broadcastings, this is really important in Brazil. We don't do that much. But I feel like it's changing for sure.
Yeah, because even on broadcasts, at least from what I've heard from my colleagues, like even 8 years ago, if you dressed a little bit revealingly on a broadcast, people would just yell and scream and insult. But now, like for our generation of Dota 2 broadcasters, like we feel comfortable wearing whatever, and people aren't crazy about it, and nobody's saying the kind of things that they said. Like I've had some of my older colleagues who've been around forever doing this telling me that it's way different now and it's way safer and it's way chiller and it's way more accepting. So that I came at a good time is what they would tell me and Nat and things like that.
Yeah.
Because no, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just add something that I don't know, maybe for me in where from my point of view, I feel like those bad comments always comes from the community, not from the streamers, the people who, work with Dota. And I think that's a good thing because we feel better working side by side to these people, and we don't feel lonely. So it's a good thing.
Mm. Yeah, I'm glad to hear that. And like I mentioned, I think it's changing for the better, at least from what I've seen. I've been playing this game for a very long time. Since I was 14, I've been playing. That's 16 years ago. And the difference in how people acted is night and day. Like even in lobbies or the way that you were treated. And even like, let's say that I wanted to play with other girls in Dota 10 years ago, I would have no idea where to find them. But now I run into them in my pubs, like I see them streaming, like it's super cool. And it's not only changing in terms of it becoming a more popular game for girls, but because there are more girls playing and streaming, like you mentioned, and just making themselves public, everyone's chiller too. They're like, oh yeah, this is cool. Like I've seen her play. Like they run into a girl in their pubs now, and they're like, "Oh, bro, you're kicking my ass." Like maybe not all of the time, but I have seen really big changes. So I do feel really hopeful and optimistic about it. It's not something that brings me down anymore. Maybe 10 years ago I would be depressed about it, but now I'm just like, this is cool. Like we all get to be part of the change and we get to see it. And like I said, now my little cousins play their games comfortably and I'm not worried for them and they're happy and they have all of these Discord friends and this whole life that they live online without being harassed. It's really cool.
Yeah, companies, gaming companies in general, even entertainment companies, they see that this is a market that they cannot like ignore anymore. Like girls and even LGBT community, because it's a huge and big part, and I think it's a very vocal part that when they feel accepted, they like share, and I think it's good. Yeah, of course, it's good for the community, it's good for the company, so it's good
Yeah,
to
and
see like
for sure, if they're less afraid to like use their voices
yeah.
too, that's such a big thing. Like using your voice in game is something that used to be so hard. I mean, I still don't do it, but I don't do it for other reasons now. It's because I don't want people to know that it's me. But back then, I would be too afraid. Like I'd be shaking. Like if my hand was going to the push to talk, it's like shaking. I'm like missing mid. I'm like terrified. But like I'll open up a lot of streamers or. I'll see that it's a very popular game with Russian girls, and I'll click on their stream sometimes. And they're just chatting into the mic. They're yelling. They're flaming. Like it's so cool. It's so wholesome to see. It's wholesome that they're flaming, but you know what I mean. They're just like playing like any other player.
But it's a
They don't
good
have
thing.
that chip on their
I
shoulder.
I think it's a good thing that women are flaming because you have to be comfortable enough to talk back, when somebody is
Yeah,
flaming
no.
you. So I don't want to.
That's equality.
Yeah.
Everyone flames.
Yeah, I don't want to, make people flame more. It's not my the outcome I'm looking for. But it's a good thing, that people
No,
are
I
comfortable.
understand. I
Because
understand
when
what
I
you're
started
saying.
streaming, I was afraid too, and I was like, oh my god, so small, and I was like, oh no, I can't talk, I can't hear, and now I don't care if you flame me, I'm gonna flame you. If you play nice, I'm gonna play nice, and that's it.
Yeah. No, it's good. You have to be able to use your voice in every capacity, even the toxic ones. I mean, really, that's what we need. Just be able to talk freely, just like, most other people can. And it applies to LGBT people as well. Like you mentioned earlier, like sometimes you can tell if somebody is trans from their voice, and they get harassed a lot too. But if they can speak vocally and more comfortably, that's very important.